degree of annoyance is commensurate with the quality of the material. In this case,
the biker gang broke up in 2014, but their real stories were just beginning. One star now makes millions on OnlyFans, while her teenage son edits the content. Another lost his own teenage son to suicide, found peace in Buddhism, and disappeared from Hollywood. The show's biggest name turned down Marvel roles to produce true crime documentaries about justice and redemption. Some of them became millionaires. Others lost everything. After 7 years of playing outlaws on screen, their real lives turned out to be even wilder, filled with heartbreak, reinvention, and redemption. Katey Sagal. Life after Sons of Anarchy has taken Katey Sagal through many chapters, each one showing her strength and adaptability. Long before she became Gemma Teller-Morrow, she was already a television icon. In the 1990s, Katey made audiences laugh as Peggy Bundy in Married with Children, a role she played for 11 years. That sitcom made her a household name, but it also locked her into comedy. Sons of Anarchy changed that forever. Her intense performance as Gemma won her a Golden Globe in 2011 and proved she could carry dramatic weight like few others. When the biker saga ended in 2014, Katey didn't take a break. The very next year, she joined The Bastard Executioner, a historical series created by her husband, Kurt Sutter. Then she shifted gears completely, stepping into Shameless in 2017 as Dr. Ingrid Jones, a chaotic, emotionally complex character. In 2018, she landed another long-running role in The Conners as Louise, a musician and Dan Connor's new love interest. Through that role, she showed fans a more tender and humorous side once again. But 2023 brought something rare, a return to her musical roots. She stepped back onto the stage after decades for a production titled The Gospel According to Heather, written by Paul Gordon, the very man who had given her one of her earliest singing opportunities. For Katey, it felt like a beautiful full-circle moment. Music has always been her heartbeat. Before her acting fame, she toured and sang backup for legends like Bob Dylan, Etta James, and Bette Midler. She even released her own solo album in 1994 and wrote songs that appeared on Sons of Anarchy. Yet behind that talent was a storm. Katey began drinking at 15 and turned to drugs to silence emotional pain. In a March 2025 podcast, she admitted addiction burned down her early music career. Now sober for many years, she has started speaking openly about that past. Her message is simple but powerful. Healing begins when people stop hiding from their emotions and start embracing them, no matter how painful the truth may be. Ron Perlman. After Sons of Anarchy, Ron Perlman refused to fade away or be boxed into biker roles. He pushed forward with more passion than ever. By 2025, he was headlining Joe Baby, a gritty neo-noir thriller where he portrayed a ruthless debt collector caught in a $10 million real estate heist. Directed by Stephen Brand, the film premiered at the Beverly Hills Film Festival on May 2, 2024. Alongside Harvey Keitel and Dechen Lachman, Perlman delivered what critics called an electrifying performance. His trademark strength layered with unexpected depth and pain. That same year, Perlman took another bold step by launching his own production company, Wing and a Prayer Pictures. Partnering with financiers Josh and Randy Crook, his goal was to produce up to 3 films a year, each with budgets ranging from $3 to $10 million. But this wasn't just business, it was a mission. He wanted to build a creative refuge for filmmakers and writers who didn't fit the Hollywood mold. In his own words, it was about giving artists a space to do what they do best: create beautiful cinema. Perlman made it clear he was ready to produce and even direct if the story demanded it. And while he explored producing, he never abandoned the voice work that made him legendary. Fans still recognize his gravelly tone in the Fallout video game series, a role he's voiced since 1997. In 2023, he brought life to Optimus Primal in Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, and his voice echoed again through the Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi series. From the underground of Hollywood to galaxies far away, Perlman's voice and presence ensured his legacy continued to roar with timeless power. Charlie Hunnam. After Sons of Anarchy came to an end in 2014, Charlie Hunnam didn't hit the brakes. Instead, he dove headfirst into the world of cinema. Some projects soared, others faded quietly. One of his biggest recent successes was The Gentleman, a stylish crime comedy released in 2023. The movie earned a solid $115 million globally, with Hunnam playing the loyal right-hand man to Matthew McConaughey's character. That casting wasn't just luck, it was loyalty. Director Guy Ritchie had previously worked with Hunnam on King Arthur, Legend of the Sword back in 2017. Though that film struggled, making $148 million on a $175 million budget, it sparked a strong creative bond between the two. Years later, Ritchie called him back for The Gentleman, and Hunnam proudly described that offer as a point of pride after 2 decades in Hollywood. But not every project struck gold. He explored darker stories with Papillon in 2017 and A Million Little Pieces in 2018. Both met with lukewarm reactions. Even his Apple TV Plus series, Shantaram, in 2022 couldn't quite find its audience. Yet giving up wasn't in Charlie's nature. By 2023, he landed a thrilling role in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. Initially, Snyder wanted him for a minor character, but Charlie made his own pitch to play Kai, a fearless mercenary pilot. Snyder agreed, and the gamble paid off. The first part premiered in December 2023, with its sequel arriving in April 2024. Now, in 2025, Charlie has made a return to television with Criminal on Amazon Prime Video. Based on a beloved graphic novel, he stars as Leo Patterson, a brilliant master thief, and for the first time also serves as an executive producer. It's a new level of creative control for him. Off-screen, Hunnam has opened up about something more personal: mental health. In May 2024, he joined Zack Snyder in the Talk Away the Dark campaign, partnered with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. He shared that his acting journey taught him how deeply emotional pain runs, and he now hopes to use his platform to help others see that even the strongest characters can struggle inside. Kim Coates. Kim Coates, the actor behind the unpredictable Tig Traeger, almost turned the role down. He once said Tig was too insane, too dangerous, but fate had other plans. Years later, Coates stands as one of television's most versatile and respected actors. In 2025, he made his return in The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2. Not as a survivor, but as its fearsome villain. He plays Brugal, a ruthless gang leader ruling the ruins of Manhattan. Yet beneath the violence lies something deeper. Coates called the new season a socio-political parable, where chaos mirrors modern reality. Beyond acting, he's shaping the story as an executive producer, proving he's more than just a performer, he's a storyteller. 2 years earlier, in 2023, he stunned audiences again with American Primeval on Netflix, a dark Western set during the Utah War of 1857. Directed by Peter Berg, the project pushed him to his limits. Coates described it as the hardest thing I've ever done. He stayed in character for weeks and endured brutal conditions, yet delivered a haunting portrayal of Brigham Young, a man torn between faith and fury. Then, in 2024, Coates returned to where it all began, the theater. For the first time since 1990, he performed live on stage, receiving glowing reviews that confirmed his talent had only deepened with time. Away from the spotlight, Kim's life is grounded in love and family. Married to Diana Coates since 1984, they share 2 daughters, Kyla and Brenna. Brenna, following in her father's footsteps, has appeared in shows like Coroner and Cage Fighter. Despite his fame, Coates remains loyal to his Canadian roots. The University of Saskatchewan awarded him an honorary Doctor of Letters in 2017. He continues to mentor aspiring actors, teaching that the greatest characters live not in black or white, but in the gray areas, just like Tig Traeger once did. Theo Rossi. After Sons of Anarchy ended in 2014, Theo Rossi, known to fans as Juice, refused to stay still. Instead of waiting for the next big offer, he built something of his own. That same year, he founded Dos Dudes Pictures, and by 2015, the company released its debut film, Bad Hurt. Theo not only produced it, he starred in it. Shot in Staten Island, his hometown, the film told a raw, emotional story about a struggling family facing pain and broken systems. Critics praised it for its honesty, calling it one of Rossi's most heartfelt performances. His company kept that same spirit alive, focusing on redemption, trauma, and humanity. But acting remained at the core of his creative soul. In 2016, he joined the Marvel Universe as Hernan Shades Alvarez in Luke Cage. The role was sharp, layered, and morally conflicted, showcasing his range. Then came a new wave of recognition with Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead in 2021. A year later, he starred alongside Aubrey Plaza in Emily the Criminal, earning an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Supporting Performance in 2022. By 2024, Theo had joined one of TV's most anticipated universes, The Penguin, the Batman spin-off on HBO Max. He played Dr. Julian Rush, a shadowy figure in Gotham's underworld. The mystery surrounding his role only fueled excitement. Meanwhile, he continued his behind-the-scenes journey. In 2025, he co-wrote and produced Play Dirty, a crime thriller released on Tubi. Reuniting with his Sons of Anarchy co-star Ron Perlman, the story followed a corrupt cop caught between law enforcement and organized crime, a return to the gritty themes that defined Rossi's career. Off-screen, Theo remains humble and deeply connected to his fans. People still call him Juice, and he embraces it with pride. Married to Megan McDermott since 2014, he's a devoted father to two sons, Kane Alexander and Arlo Benjamin. The family lives quietly in Austin, Texas, where Theo divides his time between filmmaking and philanthropy, supporting military veterans and animal welfare. For him, success isn't about fame anymore. It's about purpose, storytelling, and giving back to the world that believed in him. Maggie Siff. After Sons of Anarchy, Maggie Siff carved out her own road, one that blended intellect and emotion in equal measure. Her portrayal of Tara Knowles had been hauntingly powerful, but when the show wrapped in 2014, she pivoted into something strikingly different. By 2016, Maggie was lighting up screens again as Wendy Rhodes in Billions, a tense, psychological drama set in the ruthless world of hedge funds. She wasn't just a psychiatrist, she was a mental chess player, able to outthink billionaires and manipulate emotions with quiet precision. The role ran until 2023 and brought her 3 Satellite Award nominations, cementing her as one of TV's smartest performers. That intensity came from experience. Before fame, she once worked as a temp in a hedge fund after college. Those early days observing real-world ambition helped her shape Wendy's icy confidence and calm control. After Billions, she turned back to her theatrical roots. In 2025, she starred in Creditors at New York's Minetta Lane Theater, playing Tekla, a sculptor caught between passion and betrayal. Critics praised her as magnetic, calling it a spiritual successor to Tara's emotional depth. But Maggie didn't stop there. Drawing from her economics background, she began developing a limited series about the 2008 financial crash. This time, not just as an actress, but as a creative force guiding the entire project. She also started teaching acting at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, reminding students that truth beats technique every time. It's a philosophy she's lived by since winning her Barrymore Award back in 1998 for Ghosts. Now, in 2025, she stepped into another major TV universe, Law and Order. This time, she plays Kate Norris, a character deeply linked to one of the show's veteran detectives. Viewers who followed her journey from Sons of Anarchy to Billions can feel it. Maggie Siff has mastered the art of quiet power. Mark Boone Jr. Mark Boone Jr., born Mark Heydrich on March 17, 1955, has always been impossible to forget. With his wild hair, rugged voice, and unpredictable energy, he brought Bobby Munson to life in Sons of Anarchy. Bobby's death, his eye lost, fingers cut, and final gunshot, was one of TV's most brutal exits. But Boone didn't disappear when the credits rolled. Instead, he roared louder than ever. After the show ended in 2014, Boone tapped into a new rhythm. Between 2021 and 2024, he delivered one of his most commanding performances in Hightown, playing Petey, a drug lord with grit and soul. Each of his 4 episodes burned with quiet menace. Then, in 2025, he made audiences tear up in I'm Beginning to See the Light, a story about jazz, loss, and healing. That same year, he showed up in indie gems like Odessa and By the Rivers of Babylon. Work kept coming, and he never slowed down. Away from the screen, Boone's real heart was in advocacy. He became a passionate supporter of veterans facing mental health struggles, partnering with the Wounded Warrior Project. He often said that Sons of Anarchy gave him perspective on pain, brotherhood, and redemption. Around this time, he also launched Bobby's Garage, a podcast filled with his gravelly humor and raw honesty. He talked about old movies, interviewed former castmates, and shared stories from the chaos of his career. Privately, Boone battled his own demons. He admitted to struggling with substance abuse earlier in life, and credits music and cinema for saving him. Even now, at 70, that fire still burns. In 2025, he's still creating, still unpredictable, and still the outlaw soul of the Sons of Anarchy legacy. Ryan Hurst. Ryan Hurst turned Opie Winston's tragic end into the start of a whole new journey. When he left Sons of Anarchy in 2012, he carried that heartbreak like fuel. By 2019, he was terrifying fans as Beta, the towering, masked enforcer in The Walking Dead. The role pushed him to his limits. Hidden under layers of makeup and prosthetics, he filmed scenes half-blind in Georgia's blistering heat. Yet, he brought Beta to life with haunting intensity that fans still talk about today. But Hurst wasn't just conquering live action. He stepped into the gaming world in 2022, voicing Thor in God of War, Ragnarok. His brutal yet emotional performance earned him a BAFTA nomination, proof that even in digital form, his power could shake audiences. Then came another fan favorite, the intergalactic anti-hero Lobo, whom he voiced in Superman, Man of Tomorrow, in both 2020 and 2025. Hurst's voice had become its own force of nature. In 2024, he took the next leap, directing and co-writing Desert Road, a psychological thriller inspired by his own reflections on pain and loyalty. Like Opie, the story dealt with sacrifice and redemption. Outside Hollywood, Hurst found purpose in helping veterans, often citing his family's military roots as a reminder to serve others. Spiritually, his life shifted too. After years of searching, he embraced Sikhism, taking the name Gobind Seva Singh. He described it as a journey toward discipline, peace, and service. By 2025, Ryan Hurst isn't chasing fame. He's chasing meaning. Between directing, acting, and voice work, he's built a career defined not by flash, but by heart. Just like Opie, he stands tall, quiet, loyal, and unforgettable. Dayton Callie. Dayton Callie might have played a weary cop on Sons of Anarchy, but his real story is one of resilience and reinvention. As Wayne Unser, he embodied decay, loyalty, and quiet courage. When the show ended, many assumed he'd fade from view. Instead, he simply shifted gears. Born in 1946, he's nearing 80 now, but you wouldn't know it from how hard he still works. Soon after Sons of Anarchy, Katey took on another world of chaos. Between 2016 and 2017, he appeared in Fear the Walking Dead as Jeremiah Otto Sr., a survivalist leader with twisted morals and dark charisma. His presence gave the series a grounded realism that few actors could bring. Then came something smaller, but deeply personal. In 2025, he starred in Table 13, a haunting indie film about isolation and survival in a fractured future. The movie itself was modest, but Katey's performance gave it gravity. Off-screen, he rediscovered an old love, writing. Under the name Charlie Utter, inspired by his Deadwood character, he began publishing poetry that explored aging, regret, and resilience. His memoir, Charming Days, followed soon after. It peeled back the curtain on Sons of Anarchy, his friendship with Kurt Sutter, and the unfiltered reality behind fame. It wasn't nostalgia, it was truth. Beyond art, he turned toward mentorship. Katey began funding scholarships for young playwrights, giving new storytellers a chance to be heard. He often said that storytelling keeps the soul alive, and he's living proof. Without chasing fame, without loud headlines, Dayton Katey continues to leave quiet, lasting marks through film, words, and the hearts he inspires. Drea de Matteo. Drea de Matteo's journey after Sons of Anarchy is more dramatic than anything her character ever did on screen. As Wendy Case, she played chaos and redemption with raw honesty. But after the show ended in 2014, her life took unexpected and fearless turns. She returned briefly to familiar territory, reappearing as Wendy in the Mayans MCU series finale in 2023, and later in Power Book 2, Ghost in 2024. But Hollywood's doors weren't opening the way they used to. In August of 2023, Drea made a move that shocked fans. She launched an OnlyFans account. The bigger surprise? Her 13-year-old son helped edit her content. Within half a year, she was earning nearly $2 million annually. It wasn't about fame, it was survival. After refusing the COVID-19 vaccine, she was dropped by her agent, blacklisted, and nearly lost her home. Hollywood labeled her a savage, but she didn't back down. Instead, she built her own lane. Drea created Ultra Free, a streetwear brand inspired by her upbringing in Queens, New York. Loud, bold, and unapologetic, it stood for unity in a divided world. She personally curated each piece, turning rebellion into art. Her story is one of loss and resilience. In 2015, she lost the Manhattan apartment she'd lived in for 22 years after a gas explosion. She raised 2 kids alone after splitting from musician Shooter Jennings. Through it all, she kept fighting. Reinvention wasn't a choice, it was survival. Drea de Matteo became the voice of raw independence, a woman who lived by her own rules, no matter the cost. Jimmy Smits. When Jimmy Smits rode into Sons of Anarchy in 2012 as Nero Padilla, he brought heart to the chaos. Nero wasn't just another biker, he was calm, compassionate, and human. Fans connected deeply with his chemistry alongside Katey Sagal and Charlie Hunnam. But when the series ended, Smits was only getting started. In 2019, he stepped back into familiar territory with Bluff City Law, playing Elijah Strait, a revered civil rights attorney. It felt poetic. Smits had earned fame decades earlier in LA Law as Victor C. Fuentes. This time, he wasn't the newcomer. He was the mentor. The series tackled social justice issues in Memphis, echoing his own lifelong advocacy, even though it lasted just 1 season. Then, in 2025, he stunned audiences again. Dexter. Resurrection brought back his Dexter character Miguel Prado, long thought dead, as part of Dexter's haunting hallucinations. Sharing scenes with John Lithgow's Trinity Killer, Smits reminded everyone why his performances linger long after the credits roll. Off-screen, Jimmy's impact runs even deeper. In 1997, he co-founded the National Hispanic Foundation for the Arts with Isai Morales and others. raising over $2 million for Latino students in film and writing. He also mentors first-generation college students and serves as a voice for representation through the National Hispanic Media Coalition. He often says, education is the ultimate rebellion. That belief was born from experience. Growing up in Brooklyn, then moving to Puerto Rico at age 10, Jimmy was suddenly placed in a Spanish-only school. A culture shock that left deep scars, but taught him empathy and adaptability. Those lessons shaped the man behind the roles. Humble, thoughtful, and always fighting for something bigger than himself. David LaBrava. David LaBrava didn't just play a biker on Sons of Anarchy, he was one. As Happy Loman, he embodied quiet menace, loyalty, and pain. But behind that hard stare was a man who had lived the life for real. A former Hell's Angel and Harley-Davidson mechanic, LaBrava brought truth to every frame. When the series ended in 2014, he didn't fade, he evolved. In 2015, he released Becoming a Son, a brutally honest memoir that peeled back his life story. A troubled youth, identity struggles, and the search for belonging. The book resonated deeply, especially among outsiders and bikers. By 2025, it had grown into a podcast of the same name, where LaBrava speaks with men about trauma, masculinity, and healing. His voice, gravelly yet vulnerable, strikes a chord. He also stepped behind the camera for Street Level, a crime drama drawn directly from his past. Gritty, raw, and unfiltered, it became a mirror to the life he once lived. Beyond film, LaBrava stayed connected to the biker culture as a consultant for Mayans MC, ensuring every detail stayed authentic. He writes for Old School Rods magazine and continues crafting custom motorcycles, each one a piece of art born from grease and soul. But tragedy changed everything. In 2018, his 16-year-old son, Tycho, died by suicide. The loss broke him, but it also transformed him. LaBrava became an outspoken mental health advocate, urging parents to listen, to really listen, to their children. He later found comfort in Buddhism, channeling his grief into compassion and mindfulness. Now, in 2025, David LaBrava's story isn't just about rebellion, it's about redemption. His voice reminds the world that even outlaws can find peace when they stop running from their pain. Nico Nicotera. Nico Nicotera didn't follow the usual Hollywood path. Most people remember him as Rat Boy Skogstrom, the wild but loyal member of Sons of Anarchy. After the show ended in 2014, he didn't become a household name like some of his co-stars. But his life and choices tell a different kind of success story. Nico was born on a U.S. military base in Gießen, Germany. His parents were Italian, and he grew up across Italy, London, and later Los Angeles. Early on, he studied classical theater in London at the Academy of Live and Recorded Arts. He even performed at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. This gave him a solid base in acting, one that would set him apart, even in smaller roles. After Sons of Anarchy, he didn't land blockbuster leads, but he kept working. In 2019, he had a strong role in Richard Jewell, directed by Clint Eastwood. Nico played Dave Duchess, the best friend of the title character. The film brought him alongside stars like Kathy Bates and Sam Rockwell. It grossed $44 million, and Bates was nominated for both an Oscar and a Golden Globe. For many, it was the highlight of his post-Sons career. He also popped up in other films and TV shows. The Purge, Anarchy, 2014. Father Stu, 2022. Gotham, Criminal Minds, and You're the Worst. He often took on side roles, never stealing the spotlight, but never fading either. Some critics pointed out that his career hadn't burned rubber like others from the show. But Nico didn't seem to mind. He stayed busy doing something else, something that mattered. He co-founded Rat Pack Films, a production company focused on true crime documentaries. These films deal with wrongful convictions and social justice. He also volunteers for the Innocence Project, helping people who were imprisoned for crimes they didn't commit. For Nico, justice is not just a role, it's a real mission. Winter Avenue Zoli. Winter Avenue. Zoli chose a different kind of freedom. She played Lila Winston on Sons of Anarchy, a character who evolved from a porn star to a mother and survivor. Her real life was just as layered. She was born in New Hope, Pennsylvania, but her roots trace back to Czechoslovakia. At 11, her family moved to Prague, where she attended the international school. She began acting at 13 in films shot around the city. Later, she moved to New York to study under David Mamet and William H. Macy at the Atlantic Theater Company. She wasn't just chasing fame, she was building her craft. After Sons of Anarchy, she didn't disappear. She joined the Bosch series in 2017 as Amy Snyder, a forensic analyst. She stayed with the franchise into Bosch. Legacy, a spin-off that became a hit in its own right. In 2025, another spin-off, Ballard, is set to premiere, showing how far the universe has stretched. She also starred in Deserted, a 2016 psychological thriller. The film had mixed reviews, but praised her performance. Now she's producing Deserted 2, taking charge behind the camera. And she hasn't stopped there. Zoli is a proud advocate for Czech American culture. She helps fund film festivals in Prague and supports young filmmakers. In 2024, she held an art exhibition in Los Angeles called Biker Women, inspired by the strength of the women she met on Sons of Anarchy. The exhibit celebrated female motorcyclists and their stories. Then, in 2025, she shocked her fans. On January 8th, she announced she was retiring from acting. She had just welcomed her third child and felt the pull of motherhood more deeply than ever. In a heartfelt Instagram post, she said she was exhausted from the grind of Hollywood and wanted to raise good humans.